Hello, my name is Kevin Cooper, and I am currently a fourth year student at the University of Hawaii at Manoa. However, I am doing this project and the class attached to it as a part of the UH system at the Pialani Community College. My project, Electrifying the Crusaders, is in layman's terms the implementation of new solar panels on the St. Louis School slash Chaminade University, because they share the same campus grounds, primarily on the Bertram Hall building and its surrounding areas. Um, as mentioned, this project was done in part as an assignment for the EE211 Basic Circuit Analysis class, and this was done primarily on the Aladdin CAD software to simulate the implementation of said solar panels. Uh, Starting with Hawaii's unique island locale makes solar energy not only practical, but an essential piece for building a resilient and sustainable power grid. With an abundance of sunlight and high electricity costs here in the state, photovoltaic systems play a growing role in meeting local energy needs. Understanding how the solar panels convert sunlight into usable electrical power is therefore an important part of workforce preparation in Hawaii's technical fields like engineering. Being a local of Hawaii myself, I found this project pretty interesting with the task of implementing solar panels at my alma mater, St. Louis School, specifically the Bertram Hall building that I chose kind of just on a whim. It's one of the buildings that I'm familiar with, and the surrounding areas to kind of diversify uh, the project. However, I now thinking about it is a bit of an issue with the joint occupation of both the St. Louis High School and Chaminade University, but this is just a theoretical implementation of the project. And if any of this were to be actually implemented, it would probably take a lot more work than what I've put in myself. Nevertheless, for my design, I actually somewhat followed what the Google Maps layout of the active solar panels on the building were. However, as mentioned, I did additionally put up some uh, solar panels that weren't attached to any building or preset, which includes a canopy in a nearby parking lot and a solar farm in a nearby green area, which may not actually be a part of the campus. I don't know how the area is uh, separated in terms of ownership, but I chose I chose the two locations due to the open area. Firstly, the open area being an area that I'm familiar with being hit with a lot of sun and cars sitting out in the hot sun, in which people could possibly take shelter under the canopy, uh, and it preventing the cars from heating up. And the green area to, well, I chose the green area because there wasn't really a lot of good space to put an additional solar farm on, since the entire school, both schools, the area itself is on a giant slope, and most of the buildings themselves take up the main part of the area's space. So I chose that area just for the open area fact. But when it came to the testing was simple. It was just idealizing the area with the solar panels, how to best orient them, and then implementing them to the sim. And then just analyzing the yearly building energy. Uh, this, though, was just one of the couple of tests that I ran in the Aladdin software, but due to the size constraints on this poster, I only chose to put this one down. However, additional tests like visibility analysis, consumption of each separate addition, and more tests were ran for the Aladdin software. Um, For the project, it was an interesting implementation of my relatively brief studies into circuit analysis and how I could apply how could I could apply my circuit analysis to um, a real world setting. Being a mechanical engineer, though, while this isn't my specialty, this isn't my forte, it's not the primary part of my major. Uh, Knowledge of these topics do help me understand not only how to help my career, my community, firstly, in being able to implement something like this, new solar panels, but also it gives me a way to further my career with the new skills gained from the class, like the calculations of the electrical currents and additional info. I can I can update my salmon model to implement more solar panels and to increase the amount of energy gained from, the sun, right? In addition, this also gives this project and the class also gives me insight to how my electrical engineering brothers and sisters uh, operate and what they have to go through in their studies. Um, as a final acknowledgement, I would like to thank Professor Aaron Hanai for the opportunity to learn about the circuit analysis and for St. Louis School being the inspiration for this project. Thank you.